The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
We have a lot of things in store for you today. A game known as Beat the Toaster, or as we call it, Heart Attack City around here. It winds us up. We can only imagine what it's like for folks trying to win tickets to the KQ Karaoke Cruise. We're going to have an awful lot of fun today. I would be remiss if I did not mention, first things first, a tragic day yesterday in Minneapolis. Jamal Mitchell, a young police officer, was killed on the job. He was responding to a call of a double shooting. He was shot and killed as he arrived. He was ambushed. It's awful anytime you read a story or turn on the news and see that we've lost a police officer. This man was also a father, a soon-to-be married man. He was an officer who was very, very committed to protecting and serving. He was recognized last year for running into a burning home and rescuing an elderly couple, I believe in his first week on the job. Mayor Jacob Fry said this officer gave the ultimate sacrifice to protect and save the lives of others. His life, his service, and his name will be forever remembered. I hope that's true, because Jamal Mitchell, by all accounts, was clearly among the best of us. Godspeed, Jamal Mitchell. On far less tragic bad news, the Minnesota Timberwolves are getting ready to golf and go to the beach and have a nice summer. Yeah. And they had the decency to let us know that 6 minutes into the game. Yeah. Because Luka Doncic did what true superstars do. He showed up and said to his teammates, not the Timberwolves, he said to the rest of his teammates, I'm going to go ahead and win this game, so you guys relax and just do what you're doing. No pressure on you at all. Let me just kill this team in the first quarter. That's exactly what he did. Luka with 36, Kyrie with 36. Oh, yeah, all that talk about the two best offensive players in the league being on the same team, we just got it shoved right up our six last night. It was over early. By halftime, it was astoundingly, decisively over, and the halftime crew on TNT was having a good time with it. I tell you what, he really did. Luka came out. I mean, it was over at the end of the first quarter. He had established the fact, I'm going to just do what I have to do. The Timberwolves right now, let's just get right to it. Who's going to own this team next year? That's a great question. We'll see what happens. The Glenn Taylor A-Rod thing is just going to be more of a grease fire than ever. And then what do you do about Cat? 9 years of very uneven play. Rudy Gobert is, he's getting $40-some-odd million a year to be great in the regular season. That's been his history. And Mike Conley's 57 years old. Or no, I'm sorry, he's 36. But those are 57-year-old knees. 2 words for you. Darius Garland. Go get that point guard from Cleveland, and let's run the rest of this thing back. A lot going on the show today. Timberwolves, thank you for a great season. Seriously, go figure it out. Come back next year. Lick your wounds. This is how it goes. I just want Dallas to beat the living snot out of Boston now, because that's my default setting for life. Any Boston team, I'm cheering against you. But like I said, thankfully they got this one over. I was not tempted at all to throw something or yell or curse or 6 minutes in. Rosemary goes, "Are they coming back from this?" I go, "Oh no, oh no. Luka just went 5 for his first 5. It's over." I didn't throw my phone. You know what I mean? I thought about it, but I didn't. I have in the past. Ever destroyed a phone? It kind of feels good.
Where'd you throw it?
Oh, right into a hard brick wall. No, I'm sorry, a cement wall. Yeah. It felt good.
Nice. Yeah.
Felt real good. Let's talk about destroying our phones, shall we? Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Friday, May the 31st. It is, let's see, that was Black Water by the Doobie Brothers. I always think about CCD, which is like Catholic Sunday school. Black Water, to me, is a Sunday school song because I was at a CCD class once. My older brother was visiting, and my mom said, "Honey," to my brother Tom, "why don't you go to Steven's CCD class and bring a guitar and maybe play a song? The kids would love that." And he was like, "Okay." And he showed up, and the priest goes, "So Tom Gorman's in town. He's going to play a song for us." And my brother goes, "Well, I don't really know any religious songs, but here's a Doobie Brothers song." And he played Black Water. And we all sat there and sang, "I'd like to hear some funky Dixieland." And we're clapping and singing, and half the kids are clapping on the one. But that was our CCD song. And I was like, all right, right on.
They did have that Jesus is Just All Right by
me.
They did.
Yeah, they
know
did.
that one, yeah. Yeah. Nope. sorry.
Oh, I'm just saying. But this was 70s. See, this is when Jesus used to wear Birkenstocks, and he was kind of a hippie back then.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so freaky for everybody kind of just rolled with it.
I like black water to anyone who owned or, like I did for a couple of years, lived in an RV. That's the poopy water. Empty the black water
Is that
tanks. Yeah, then you have the gray water and your pot water, whatever.
It's important to know the difference between those waters.
It is so important.
Yeah. You don't want to cross the water streams.
No.
Not a good thing at all. Ever destroyed an iPhone or a smartphone or any kind of phone at all, for that matter?
Hell yeah.
Yeah?
Hell yeah. You haven't. I don't think you're truly a Minnesotan until you've whipped your phone into the lake at some point, which I did. Wave running out of Minnetonka. Had the little storage compartment there in the front. And I just gotten that new Razor. Remember the Razor flip phone? It was titanium looking.
Yeah.
It's the first cool phone I had, that was ahead of the curve, maybe just a little bit. And I put it in there because I just had to have it out on the lake. Actually, the Wave Runner didn't run that well, and I thought I might be stranded out there on the lake somewhere. I wrapped it up in the towel and put it in the storage compartment. And then later, when I had a bunch of water in my face and I'm wiping my face with the towel, I thought to myself, wait a minute, my phone was in this towel. And then you do that thing where you're sitting on the Wave Runner out in the middle of Tonka and you look around like you're going to see it floating or something. It was so long gone. And my buddy had the best one, though. He's out playing catch with his dog at the lake, whipping the stick out or the tennis ball out in the lake, talking on the phone, and then accidentally whips his phone instead of the tennis ball.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just watched it sail. He said it was just a big chuck.
Yeah.
And he just watched it from the outfield to the infield and then splash.
Couldn't do it again if he tried.
No, the dog went after it, but didn't get
dog.
it.
Too late. Tone, ever destroy a phone?
No. I have not destroyed my phone.
You're due.
I've been very tempted. I've dropped it many times, watched it tumble downstairs. And
I have destroyed both one landline, a phone, and then one iPhone. The iPhone was, and this was not, this was intentional both times. I have never dropped a phone in the toilet or in the sewer. I haven't had one of those, but I intentionally, I was leaving a Titans playoff game. January 2009, they lost it. They were the number 1 seed, 13-3. They played the 6th seed Ravens with rookie quarterback Joe Flacco and lose the game. It was 13-10, 3 turnovers. The Titans were the best team in the AFC all year, and then they just crapped the bed at home. I'm walking out of the stadium, me and my 9-year-old son, who's in tears. We were just so bummed out.
Yeah.
The shell-shocked, quiet egress of 70,000 people. And
we know it.
And my phone is ringing. My texts are exploding because I have a ton of family in Baltimore, and they're all just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
I'm ignoring the call. Turn the ringer off, ignore the call, don't answer a text, don't answer a text. I'm just walking through the concourse, almost out of the stadium, and I just very calmly removed the case from my phone and just full-on hurled that bastard right into a concrete wall. Just I was so pissed. And it was also notable because it's the first time I ever looked at one of my kids and said, don't tell your mom about that.
Yeah.
Did he laugh?
He thought it was awesome. He was like, oh,
you made him feel better.
You did.
Yeah.
It was great.
Good move.
Yeah, it exploded. I was actually shocked that it was one of those. Again, I couldn't do that if I tried a million times. It hit the perfect angle, I guess, on a corner. It was flipping over, but it blew up into several pieces. And I was like, and I just kept walking, and people were like, yeah, woo! I got a few of those from some other fans. It was good.
Yeah,
that was just, man. And then I also destroyed a hotel phone, and not only a hotel phone.
That's so rock and roll.
At the Plaza Hotel in New York City. It was rock and roll. I'm fighting with my lady. Well, I'm on the road. She's at home, and she's yelling at me for being, you don't even ask me about my day. And I'm like, you don't know what it's like out here. We're having this whole fight. And I got so angry, and then I'm like, and she was just pushing all the buttons, and it's one of these giant, it's like the size of a laptop now. It was a really old phone, and it said the Plaza, and it had 13 buttons. Hit this button for room service, for the valet, for the concierge, those old school phones. And I slammed it down really hard, and I just slammed the phone in the cradle, and it felt good, so I did it again. And before I knew it, I was just going, I just destroyed this whole phone. And within 10 minutes, I called my tour manager. I was like, I just destroyed a phone. Go ahead and bill my room for that. My bad. Not the rock star moment. I didn't walk out of there like lighting a fire. I apologized and paid for it.
Throw the TV out the window. Or
I should have.
Fun like that. Well, what about the freak ones? Here's someone's already messaged. Playing golf. People behind us hit too soon. Ball hits me in the leg, destroys my phone. That phone saved me.
Oh, man.
Nice.
From a good Charlie horse, maybe.
Wow. That's like you hear those stories from like Deadwood where the guy gets shot, but his tobacco tin or his flask saved him or something,
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're walking out of a store. Sid the kid, 16, gets a phone. And we're walking out of the store, and I bought her a case in the store because she had already broken a phone at that point. So we're walking. I was like, "Here's your protective case." As we are walking out of the store, I said, "You didn't put the case on the phone." Mm-hmm. She said, "Dad, it's not like I'm going to break it walking out of the store." And as she did that, it's so predictable. Everyone knows where this is going. She kind of flails her arms in a exaggerated motions as a teenager might do. And I kid you not, that phone came out of her hand, made a nice arc on bang. Just smashed the screen completely. I'm like, well, are you freaking kidding? I'm looking up at God like, really? Pick it up. Let's go back in the store.
Oh, that's rough, man.
That was a good one.
A lot of people, I know the dropping it in the toilet is a very common thing. My son's done that. I know several people. And it's and they all make sure to say like, no, I wasn't like taking a dump or anything. I was just washing my hands. I set it down on the counter and it fell. I'm like, stop it. You were sitting there, you're doom scrolling, waiting for nature to take its course, and you dropped it in. It happens. It's nothing to be ashamed of. That's why they invented smartphones, to give us something to do in the bathroom.
Yeah, I agree.
That's how that goes. It's time for some movie reviews. It's the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning, Steve and Zap and Tony. Good morning, everybody. One more day. It is today. The weekend starts tomorrow. I love it. It's been a short week. I mean, I just can't wait. Look, let's get the white elephant out of the room that's standing there. I predicted O.J. Simpson would be found guilty of murder. Was found not guilty. I also predicted that the Donald Trump trial would end in a hung jury. And now we know it was guilty. But I'll tell you what, I'm much more excited and happy to talk about my movie review today. And you can see this movie at Marcus Theaters, the best movie chain in the entire country. Check out Marcus Theaters, where every Tuesday you get yourself $6. You get yourself a movie, any movie at Marcus Theaters, and you can see this one at Marcus Theaters beginning today. The movie is Ezra. It drops today. Now, I'll give you Rotten Tomatoes ratings, and I'll give you my ratings at the end of the movie, but once again, I disagree. Now, this is based on a true story about an 11-year-old boy with autism, played brilliantly by a little newcomer named William Fitzgerald. Bobby Cannavale is fabulous, playing Ezra's father. Ezra's mother is played by Rose Byrne. His grandfather played by Robert De Niro, and the cast also includes Rainn Wilson and Whoopi Goldberg, and they are all fabulous. So when Cannavale's character takes his son on a cross-country trip, seeking to help his son's condition, you, the audience, at Marcus Theaters, goes along for the ride. The trip is hilarious, touching, compassionate, and memorable. Great storytelling, fabulous acting. This movie, Ezra, rated R, 100 minutes. My rating, 3.5 stars. Rotten Tomatoes rating, 66%. Believe me. Legal notes. You know, I told you a while back that Alec Baldwin's lawyer's request to dismiss the involuntary manslaughter charges would be denied, and it was. And now Scott Peterson's lawyers have asked the California Superior Courts for a retrial for Scott Peterson, already convicted of murdering his pregnant wife, Lacey. My prediction on the attorneys for Scott Peterson's request: denied. Once a scumbag, always a scumbag. So when O.J. Simpson found out he had cancer, he stopped paying all of his taxes, knowing and even joking that by the time he died, all the money he had hidden would be found, and it would go to tax liens, thus leaving the Browns and Goldmans without a penny. Horrible. But I got to tell you guys, the most ridiculous item of the week, Kate Blanchett whining that she too is affected by higher grocery prices because she, like many of us, she says is middle class. What are you kidding? For the record, Kate Blanchett's net worth is $95 million. Since when is $95 million middle class? And a little scoop for you. Check it out. So you're going to get a report every day next week, but they will originate from Palm Springs, California. A week of golf, wine, some good old friends, some great food. Just the thought of it makes me want to sing. It's Aloha Friday, no work till Monday. We're going to play today, Aloha Friday. Mealy, Clickamaka, Holy Maka, Hiki Ho, Lily Yokalani, Lani, Ani, Okay, Ella, Koo, and a cock and ock, and hooey, 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 home.
Aloha.
Wow, went for it on that one. It is Friday.
Yeah.
There's your Mike Evans Hollywood Report. As long as we're having a good time, let's learn a little something. Let's look back on this day, May 31st, 1983. This Philadelphia 76ers swept the Lakers in the NBA Finals. That got Dr. J his first and only NBA championship, long overdue. If you grew up at the time I did, and I know at least Tony and Zepp did, and the Dr. J was just like a guy from another planet. He was the coolest dude on planet Earth. For him to finally get over and win a title, as a Lakers fan, I was even happy for him. I was in Minneapolis, Minnesota 30 years ago and a little change for the NBA All-Star Game, 1994. And I was at a hotel downtown, and it was the morning of the game, and I had been at Paisley Park the night before for a Prince concert, which remains the greatest show I've ever seen. I'm in a hotel lobby, very hungover, looking for some breakfast or something, and right to my right, I just look, and who's standing right there but Julius frickin' Irving.
No.
Awesome.
And I said, "Hey, Doc." He goes, "How you doing, man?" And he put that hand out, and he shook my hand, and it was like shaking hand with a Yeti. His hand was so big, and I just stared at him, and I was like, I'm a Lakers fan, but man, I loved '83. I just graduated from high school, and you guys won. And he was just like, I'm mumbling incoherently. I was just beyond speechless to meet the good doctor. Just a total drunken highlight of my life.
Didn't have breakfast with him.
Did not have breakfast with him. Oh, wait, no, that's right. He actually said, "Come to my room, we'll order room service, and let me tell you all about my career." That's what I wish happened.
I had the Dr. J comic book when I was a kid, because I was a big Sixers fan. I broke for the Steelers because they were winning Super Bowls.
Well, sure.
I grew up in South Dakota, but I was born small little baby in Pennsylvania, on the Philadelphia side, the east side. So yeah, big Sixers, Phillies fan, and Dr. J was and still is the man.
He was the baddest man in the land. On this day in 2015, Harriet Thompson finished the Suja Rock and Roll Marathon in San Diego in 7 hours and 24 minutes. Notable because she was 92 years old. A 92-year-old woman ran a marathon. That's about a 17-minute mile average. Okay, Harriet. Nice job.
Yeah, what if she just cruised past you out there,
You know there's someone still telling that story. An old lady ran by me and I felt
just
like such a loser.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zepp, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Show, S-H-O-W. That's how you spell it. The Script Spelling Bee went down yesterday. A 12-year-old won the Scripps Spelling Bee, a 7th grader from Tampa, Florida, a young lad by the name of Bruhat Soma. And I've never seen this before at the Spelling Bee. Now, he did have, what they say, the winning word, abseil, which is defined as descent in mountaineering by means of a rope looped over a projection above. But to get there, they went into a tiebreaker round, like a lightning round thing. And you know that dude who always reads the words? He's been doing it for forever. He's just going, hedle, 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 hedle. And the kids are spelling it and hitting the button. It was crazy. Just listen to a little bit of this lightning round and tell me how long you'd last.
Your first word is Bruette.
Brouette.
Adelantado.
Adelantado.
Hypercheme.
Hyporcheme.
Bicelium.
Biscellum.
Mycteric.
Mycterc.
Endacha.
Endecha.
Saracen.
Sercin.
Nyctalopia.
Nyctalopiae.
Ascum.
Ascham.
Wenzel.
Wenzel.
Cebel.
Cebel.
Heautophany.
Heautopany.
Come on. 8 hours left of this.
Zoku.
Panetiere.
Panetiere.
Sagai.
Sagai.
Nachschlager.
Nachschlage.
Exorison.
Exorison.
Porphyrio.
Or Porphyrio.
Giclée.
Gicle.
Ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha.
What do you think, a pothead?
I think that dude's just making stuff up.
Asarotum.
They're names of aliens.
There's no one that can fact check him. They're like, I think
Yeah.
he's right. I don't know.
Mirabalanus.
Myrabalanus.
Sinaf.
Somebody right behind him picking his nose.
Voussoir.
Voussoir.
Caixinha.
Yeah, he's making up words. The kid's just spitting out letters, and no one's any of the wiser.
No.
Apocyopesis.
Apocyopesis.
Abseil.
ABSEIL.
Unbelievable.
Pathology.
Just keep going. Time. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
I that's more. I'd rather just have to do push-ups for the whole time.
Yeah, right.
No question on any of the words from the kid either. Just boom, right.
Yeah, just completely but the guy literally is just putting together syllables and making them sound like words, and then the kid is just spouting off letters. He's just getting in the ballpark. No, those are actually all correctly spelled. He got 29 words in a certain amount of time. The kid that went up after him only got 20. He misspelled. The other kid misspelled a few. He got 20, but the champion, the 12-year-old, again, 29 straight. That is just outstanding. Bruhat. Four semifinalists, 4 Minnesotans made it to the final 140 out of the whole thing. 4 were from Minnesota.
Brag, but yeah.
What's that?
I said I wasn't going to brag about it, but brought it up.
Listen, man. This is you're aging out, so brag while you can. So that's the first time I've seen that tiebreaker. A bunch of words that have won this thing over the last few years. I'm looking back over Stromure. Anybody have a clue? Stromure. It's German.
STRO.
Clue as to what?
EIURRE.
No, sir. No, Tony, you're wrong. Stromure, STROMUHR. It's a rheometer designed to measure the amount of speed of blood flow through an artery.
Well, duh.
Yeah, that's like if the guys. How about this word? Symmetricus. That means having the hair wavy. And
that's my brother,
someone in 2011 just oh yeah, I got that. Guetepens is to ambush, snare, or trap.
French adult
we have all
diapers.
those fine words that mean that, right? Snare. How about just say snare?
How about just snare?
Trapped it.
How about this word? It's from German. Scherenschnitt. Scherenschnitt is it means scissor cuts.
This morning. Oh, scissor, yeah.
Yeah. And then, but it just goes on. You look at all these. Every now and again, very rarely there's a word I know. In 2019, the winning word was bougainvillea, which is, I know that because it's a ornamental vine. It's pink flowered. You see them in California and in the Caribbean. Those vines that grow really fast and they're beautiful. You don't have to do anything. Right. That's the only word I've ever heard in a spelling bee where I was like, I know what that is. Not only do I know, I think I can spell it, but I know what it means.
Sounds like the name of a Sid and Marty Krofft show.
Bougainvillea.
Yes.
I
Lidsville.
I mentioned the other day I was in the spelling bee in 5th grade. I went out on the word ancient, but before that I remember getting the word ambiguous, and in my mind I was like, that That instilled a sense of awe in this room. I don't think anybody else remembers, but I remember getting ambiguous and going like, yeah, I got that one. The best thing about watching this kid win the spelling bee is with every time they'd give him a word, you see him typing in the air. His hands are twitching, but he's actually, you can tell he's air typing. I mean, I'm a fan of a little air guitar. I'm a fan of a little air drumming. Air typing is a new one.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty good. Anybody familiar with this term? It's spelled exactly how it sounds. I don't know the etymology. I don't know, but I think it's just from the English. Here's the term: ghost poop. Anybody know what ghost poop is?
Yes. When a ghost leaves something unpleasant behind.
Ghost poop, GHOSTPOOP, ghost poop. Ding! That's right, ghost poop. This is the new trend, and it's one of two things, but on TikTok videos, people are obsessed with this lately. It's not a new term, but it's new to a lot of people. It's been in the Urban Dictionary for over a decade. This has nothing to do with actual supernatural fecal material or anything like that. Here's the thing. What if you use the bathroom? Let's say if you're dropping a deuce and you look in the bowl and there's nothing there.
Oh yeah,
because
that happened last week.
Did you really?
Yeah, really. I looked, and then you look again, and then you look to make sure it's not stuck to the back of your leg or something.
You're like, I know something came out.
Yeah,
there's it's sunk to the bottom and then vanished. Or the other version of ghost poop is when there's nothing on the paper as you go to wipe. This is something
the clean
that people,
pinch.
And there's people are questioning, like, well, what about the health implications? I mean, is this something weird? If it sinks, what they say is no. That means you're doing great with your fiber intake.
Okay,
you're delivering the goods in a very healthy way. And by the way, the same if you don't have to wipe. If you're not wiping much at all, if there's no need, it's very well formed. It's firm. It's easily passed. Again, well done with the fiber intake.
Yeah, what if you have to wipe like 8 times? You have to flush and then keep wiping. This is Dr. Janine Bowring, probably.
Mm-hmm. What does this poop mean? If you have this type of poop, you may just be the healthiest person on the planet. And it is the ghost poop, the poop that you look in the toilet, you're like, I'm sure I pooped, but it's gone. Well, it's gone. Why? Because you probably have enough fiber. You even wipe and you're like, I thought I pooped. I don't see anything. It's because you've got that fiber. You've got enough of those essential fatty acids. Your circadian rhythms are in tune with nature, with the light and dark cycle of the day. And you've got that ghost poop.
Wow.
Man. So
all right, now I want it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You definitely want it. Don't
glorious day.
Don't be afraid of that ghost poop. No, that's great. That's good news.
So if you have a floater, then that's bad. Because we used to have an actress on, I forget her name, but she was on Taxi, the redhead.
Oh, Mary Lou Henner.
Yeah, Mary Lou Henner. We'd have her on all the time. She got into this health kick, and she would write these health books, and she would get on and ask us if our last poop floated or sank. I can never remember which it was, but it sounds like the sinkers are good, the floaters are bad.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Is that right, Mr. Poopy Pants?
Hey.
Mary Lou Henner has something called highly superior autobiographical memory. That's what it's called, HSAM. Originally, it was it was called hyperthymesia, but then people were like, well, that sounds like it's some weird. So they changed the name. She remembers literally everything that's ever happened in her life.
Yeah, name a date, and she'll recall it.
She'll tell you what she was wearing. She'll tell you who said what she said in response. It's really wild. If you see, there's interviews where people will do that. They'll sit her down and go, okay, they literally go, how about January 9th, 1978? And she'll go, oh my gosh, I had bought this new sundress and I was so happy to wear it. And it was a beautiful day in LA. And I walked out, and she just goes every single day of her life. She remembers everything.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
It's like women, how they remember everything bad you've done in a relationship forever, but she does that with everything. Here it is, Floaters versus Sinkers. December 2005, Mary Lou Henner wrote a fitness diet book where she devotes an entire chapter to just poop. Yeah.
Well, God bless her, man. I mean, there's in the grand scheme of things, not much more important.
No.
If you're not pooping, you're not lasting very long. Got to keep it moving. There's nothing quite like those days. We said something the other day about being a new dad, fatherhood. It just rots your brain. Basically, you lose brain matter. I can still remember very clearly, like the glee you have when you open a diaper and it's just a clean out. And you're like, just like a couple of Lincoln logs right there. No yes, no. And you're just like, good boy. Like the kid had anything to do with it. You're just so excited. Like, oh my God, this is great. It's all going to be okay. And then like 40 minutes later, he's blasting diarrhea across the room. And you're like, oh my God.
Down his onesie.
What have I gotten into?
Enjoy the moment.
So yeah, if you're finding yourself, if you are the purveyor of ghost poop, then just keep doing what you're doing, because that is a good sign. Just wake up, have a big smile on your face, and know you've done your part to keep the pipes flowing as they should. And by the way, this is a great day for that, because today is National Smile Day.
Hey,
how about that? Not the Beach Boys album Smile. No, literally just Smile Day. 10 benefits of smiling. Are you ready for these?
Okay.
As they say, studies have shown, smiling can in fact lead to a longer life. Just puts you in a better mood,
A better life, anyway. A better quality of life.
Smiling, whether it's natural or forced, can and has shown to reduce stress. Smiling does improve your mood and make you feel happy. You can fake a smile, and eventually your body doesn't recognize the difference, and your central nervous system is like, hey, we're smiling. Everything's going to be okay.
All right.
I'm just doing it now. I'm smiling. I'm making my little fake laugh.
I think it precedes a nervous breakdown.
Fake laugh.
Sure.
I feel better already. My mood is lightening up. My chest, the crushing weight of societal expectation upon me is lifting a little bit. I feel great right now. Not only will smiling make you happy, it'll make others around you happy. Look at those fake smiles we're all looking at each other with.
It can't be too fake, right? You can't be too toothy with that dead stare.
Yeah, that's scary.
It can get real creepy real fast.
I love people who can really pull that off, the fake smile but the dead eyes. I don't do it very well, but I like the people that can. I like a good dead eye smile. Smiling reduces pain, because if you smile a lot, it does release endorphins and serotonin.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Smiling and especially laughing have been shown to lower blood pressure. Just laugh.
Oh, all right, laugh it off. You got to laugh.
I never smile if I can help.
Smiling makes you appear more confident. How about that? I mean, this is all just good stuff. It's good things to remember. And smiling can help you stay positive. Well, yeah, I would hope. I mean, that's kind of the point. National Smile Day. What days do we not have yet that we need? We got Smile Day. We got Soft Drink Day. We got, Ghost Poop Day. Well, I don't think we have that yet, but we can work on it. There's so many days out there to have. Is there a day that we're missing? And do we still do Arbor Day? Is that still a thing? I planted a couple trees in the 70s. Arbor Day.
What about Get Away with Murder Day?
Man, that's called The Purge, and I'm all for it.
We'll celebrate your Scars Day.
Celebrate your Scars Day, yeah. The Scars Day diet. The KQ Karaoke Cruise is back. How about that? How about we celebrate that? June 21st. Let's just call it what it is. I'll be on that boat for hours. I'm not going to sing. Last year on this very show, I said, yeah, I'm going to get up there and do one. And then I got there and I was like, no, I'm not. And people called me out for it. So I'm not going to make the same mistake. I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm not singing. What I am going to do is have a great time watching other people sing and listening to other people sing. It's going to be fun. Zepp, any chance you get the mic in your hand?
No, I wouldn't do that. Our listeners, there's such a line of people and a long list of people that want to sing. I'm not going to take that privilege away from them. I'm there for them. They'd be going overboard if I sang. Trust me.
All right,
trust me. Let's get somebody on the boat with the guest for free right now. The KQ92 talk and text line, callers 9 and 2, 651-989-ROCK. We're playing Beat the out of that damn toaster for tickets to the KQ Karaoke Cruise. Steve just mentioned June 21st, Paddleford Riverboats, singing, drinking, free food from Lucky's 13, and that prize provided by Paddleford Riverboats. Thank you. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck and hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Somebody to Love by Queen. Here's something to love for the members of Queen and the estate for Freddie Mercury. The band is in talks, has been for quite a while. It's now surfacing again, apparently closing in on a deal to sell their catalog for $1 billion with a B. That's $1 billion. That would include merchandising and other business opportunities. Queen Productions Limited is equally owned by Brian May, Roger Taylor, John Deacon, and Freddie Mercury's estate. Boy, $1 billion for Queen. I mean, that's a tidy $250 million for each guy.
They're not going to have to work again for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, wow. Lucky them. This is, 40 years after they last recorded as a band. If Queen is worth $1 billion, then what about Pink Floyd? What about Led Zeppelin? And then, of course, what about the Beatles? I mean, if Queen's worth $1 billion, I got to think the Beatles are twice that.
Oh, my God.
I mean, way more songs, and way more songs that everybody on the planet knows. Every kid under 12 knows 25 Beatles songs, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Not that the members of the Beatles are, I'm sure that's the furthest thing from their mind. They have always maintained great, with the exception of the time Michael Jackson snagged that catalog out from under McCartney, they're in control. They run a tight ship over there at Apple and Beatlecore. But man, Queen, $1 billion, 40. Last record they made, something like 40 years ago, and then along comes $250 million, and they've been touring and doing arenas off and on for those 40 years. I mean, for years and years and years with various singers.
Yeah. So that means, for those of us lay people, it means that whoever owns them now, I don't know if you mentioned who owns them or not, can go ahead then and use their music however they see fit, marketing.
Pretty much,
that sort of stuff. Yeah. Any old way they'd like to sell it, package it, put it together, that kind of thing. All right.
Yeah, you cut that check. Michael Jackson's catalog sold for $600 million. That's the biggest one so far. Springsteen, $500 million. Good Lord. And of course, Michael Jackson's dead, obviously. Springsteen, Kiss, Bob Dylan sold, did $300 million for a chunk of his. A lot of the, Sting got $250 million. A lot of these artists are selling their catalog and then still going out and playing shows. I mean, it's not like they're retired. They're still earning just a fortune. But yeah, why not? What good are if somebody comes up to you and says, here's, Bruce Springsteen, because a lot of Springsteen fans were bagging on him when he sold. Like, come on, man, that's not cool. What is not? I tell you what's not cool, saying no thanks to $500 million.
Right.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's not cool. Dynamic pricing for a Springsteen fan at one of his concerts for about $1,300 a ticket.
There you go. That's another thing that's not cool. We could do a whole list of things that aren't cool. And one of those things would be that Justin Bieber sold a bunch of his catalog for $200 million already.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's Katy Perry with $225. Good Lord.
Yeah.
It's amazing. What I don't know if I would know a Justin Bieber song if it came up and smacked me in the face, but apparently I'm in the minority there. $200 million for the Biebs. Oh well. Talented kid, not a bad drummer for what it's worth.
A lot of believers out there.
A lot of believers out there. My daughter, thankfully, was a believer for like an hour. She got in, she got out.
Then what happened?
Taylor, I went through a quick phase.
Mm-hmm. She just found she liked other stuff better. A lot of bands that she really loves that really just grind my gears. I'm like, really? You're going to listen to that some more? But that's the job of a kid. Don't listen to what your parents listen to. Find your own music and piss your parents off. And I'm happy to say both my kids, real good job of that.
Yeah, Good Charlotte for me. I remember when Good Charlotte came out. First band I took Taylor to see, by the way, 13 years of age. And I said something about being a bit bubblegum or pop. And she said, Dad, it's punk music. What would you know about punk music?
Oh, boy.
What would Generation X know about punk music? What?
Oh, boy.
I pulled the car off to the side of the road. I did.
Sure.
I said, let me tell you about punk music, you punk. You ain't no punk. It all started with us, for crying out loud.
They know right where the bruises are. They know right where to push, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Don't you question your father's punk cred? Oh, it's terrible. Hey, June 21st. Don't know if we'll be hearing any punk rock music on the KQ Karaoke Cruise, but we'll be hearing a lot of rock music that night. Whole bunch of people are going to join us on a boat. Paddleford Riverboat's going to be running up and down the river, drinking, having free food from Lucky's 13. It's going to be a blast, and we would love to bring along a couple of listeners. So we're going to have a couple of people play a game, and as it is Friday, Tony.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it.
Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
I'm smiling.
Can you do it? Can you beat the toaster? I believe that you can. Here's what we do. We pop a slice of bread into the toaster right here in the studio, give you a category, then you name as many things that pop into your head as possible in 15 seconds before the toast pops. And today we're featuring egg bagel from Cecil's.
An egg bagel in that toaster. I like it.
Beat that toaster, baby.
Enough. It's time. The beads of sweat are forming. Let's get to it. Who is contestant number 1?
Contestant number 1 is our good friend Pam from Oakdale.
Pam, good morning.
Good morning.
Pam, are you a fan of karaoke? Can you hear me, Pam?
Pamela.
Sorry.
Are you with us?
I am.
Okay, we got to focus here. It's time to compete. Got to make sure you're feeling sharp. Are you ready for this?
Do you have your radio up, Pammy?
We might have to.
I can hear you now. Sorry.
Oh, heavens to Murgatroyd.
Okay, all right, Pam. Are you ready to play the game? That's the question. Boy,
wow.
I think we might have to move on. We're going to move on.
No.
Yeah, sorry, Pam. That's not working. We got a game that has to be played. So we're going to need another caller. 651-989-ROCK. Somebody else hop on and see if we can't line you up and get you ready. Pam, she sounded like she was a little hesitant. Honestly, I think she may have been out over her skis when she realized it was Beat the Toaster.
Yeah, that happens.
We tell you what you're playing for, but we don't tell you what you're going to play. We need another caller, 651-989-ROCK. Bring it on, get involved, and be a part of the KQ Karaoke Cruise. We have now lost both calls. How did that happen?
That Hoyts. They were both nice people. Okay, here's
all right, the phone lines are lit up. We're going to lock in 2 more people here momentarily. They will then compete. What's that?
I could do, if you don't mind.
Please.
KQ being one of the sponsors for the Ride for Wishes is tomorrow. We're going to have a nice day, getting the rain out of the way today. There's a little in the forecast for Sunday, but tomorrow I'll go for Ride for Wishes. I'm on chucksride.com. I'll get started tomorrow morning. St. Paul Harley-Davidson registration, 8 a.m. They got a free pancake breakfast. They're going to roll out of there at 10:15, and that's just part of the Ride for Wishes. If you're not riding a bike, they have a big music event. The concert starts at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was looking for that information, but apparently there it is, the music festival. Yeah, tomorrow afternoon, Doghouse Bar and Grill, multiple bands, Ride for Wishes, music, food, ride, June 1st tomorrow. The music starts at 4 o'clock in the afternoon at the Doghouse Bar and Grill if you just want to show up and rock out with everybody.
All right, very good. Thank you for that, Zep. We have got 2 callers ready to roll now for the second time today. Let's see if this one flows a little better. Tony, who we got?
All right, we got 2 fine lads ready to compete. First is Chris from Hudson.
Chris from Hudson. Good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Are you a karaoke fan, Chris?
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure. All right. If you make it on the cruise, what song are you going to sing?
Oh boy. Okay. I'm kind of famous for "A Whole Lot of Love" by Led Zeppelin.
Oh yeah, I like that. All right, famous for it, no doubt. All right, well, it's Beat the Toaster. It's not an easy game, so hope you're feeling sharp on this one. Tony, take it away.
All right, Chris. So you want to impress. You're going to a cocktail party. Name off some different kinds of apes. Go.
I'm sorry, different kinds of apes?
All right, I'm going to start you again. Yes. You got your 15 seconds to beat the toast.
Different types of apes.
Kinds of apes. Go,
yes,
sir.
Different kinds of apes.
Yeah. Clock's ticking, brother.
Pam?
No, I'm not Pam.
Not a golden start.
Okay.
Yeah. We would have accepted grape ape.
Chris.
Oh, okay.
Would have accepted just about anything, Chris. But you know what? It's all right. It's Friday mornings. The weekend may have already started over there.
Just a warm up.
You got round 2 coming. Yeah. But for right now, Chris, hang tight. We're going to put you on hold. We're going to go to contestant number 2 for their round 1. Who is contestant number 2?
All right, Chad from Mound. What's your take?
Chad, good morning.
Hey, good morning, y'all.
All right, Chad sounds wide awake, baby. Are you ready to rock a little Beat the Toaster, Chad?
Hey, for those about to rock, we salute you.
Attaboy.
Like your attitude.
Razor sharp.
All right, Chad. So, similar thing. You want to impress, but you're at a dinner party. Name different kinds of beans and/or legumes. Go.
Bean, pinto bean, black bean, great northern bean, a navy bean, garbanzo bean, baked bean, a Boston baked bean, beans, musical fruit. I don't know. What else?
Not bad.
Wow.
Not bad at all.
Was that 8?
8. I'm going to give him an unofficial 10th of a point for not mentioning lima beans.
Yeah, very well done. I might even round that up to a full point for throwing out the musical fruit. So
you're going to give him the Boston baked beans?
Just because you said baked beans and then Boston baked beans. Is there a difference?
Well, one's a candy.
All right, well, let's call it 8. We'll call it 8. We're not going to go to 9. We're going to give him 8. Well done, Chad.
Very good.
Very well done. Chad, if you make it onto the KQ Karaoke Cruise, do you have a song in mind that you're going to sing? Guess not. All right, let's move back to Chris. Round 2 for contestant number 1. Chris, are you still with us? Uh-oh.
Yes, Steve. Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Chris, there you
Chris.
go. Are you ready for round 2?
I am so ready now. Okay.
All right. Awesome. Let's do it, brother.
All right, Chris. You're cruising around town. You got a bumper sticker on your car that's going to draw attention to police to have you pulled over instantly. What are some things your bumper stickers say? Go.
Progress. I got a kid in the car with candy. Open bottle, open beer. No cop, no stop.
Yeah.
No stops. I like that one.
All
right, Chris. That's a solid 5 for round 2.
92
Coming around
KQRS.
the bend. Yeah, 92.5.
Right. That'll
That's
do it
great.
instantly.
All right, Chris, well done. You bounced back out. You came out swinging for round 2. We're going to put you on ice for a sec. We're going to go back to Chad. Chad, it's time for round 2. You, sir, have already won the game. You've got 8 in the first round, and Chris has a total of 5. So, but we do have to play out the side. It's
just time to show off.
Yeah, the mandate says we got to start the game. We got to finish the games we start. So, Chad, here comes round 2. Let's do this.
Mr. Chad, names that are common here on Earth, like Jim or Bob here on Earth, what might be some names that are common to aliens or beings from other planets or dimensions? You go, sir.
Fourth dimension, their names, Weewo, Nanu, Delron.
Delron. There it was.
Yeah, that was a winner right
Pull
there.
one out. It's my favorite. It's a tie between Delron and...
Yeah, that counts.
That was great. Well done, Chad. You pulled that one out. Chad, safe to say you are today's winner for sure with an 8 and a 5er. Chris, appreciate you calling. Both of you guys, appreciate you calling in. Mentioned a minute ago that the Queen catalog is going to be sold apparently for $1 billion. John Lennon's long-lost acoustic guitar. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. He gave that guitar to someone who gave that guitar to someone and put it in their attic and literally left it there for 50 years. It was found recently. It went up on auction, and it is now sold for a little over $2.85 million. That's the highest selling Beatles guitar ever and the 5th most expensive of all time. It was used in the movie Help. He recorded songs on Help and the album Rubber Soul on this specific guitar. And now somebody plunked down almost $3 million for it.
That's a wild. I want to be worth so much money someday that I buy a guitar like this, about $3 million, and then I just do the old John Belushi Animal House with it.
Sure,
just smash it on the stairs, and of course, live stream it or whatever, so the world can enjoy. I wouldn't do it with a John Lennon guitar. Maybe a Paul Simon guitar or something like that. I dig Paul Simon. I'm just saying, I sure as hell wouldn't do a John Lennon's guitar.
Ever busted up a phone? How'd you torch your iPhone? How'd you lose it? What'd you do? How many people out there have dropped their iPhone while ice fishing? Let's talk about wasting those phones. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, May the 31st. Anybody, you guys ever see INXS live, the band we just heard?
I have. I was a big fan. None of my friends were. We were going through a hardcore, hard rocking time there in the 1980s. Probably a little too much hair spray metal. But, loved me some INXS. I saw them a couple of times in Minnesota.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I got to go backstage. A cool thing.
Nice.
I used to, when I worked here a while back, I used to track new music, and I recommended a song. It was the song What You Need, which became a monster hit.
Yeah.
I said, this is pretty cool. We should check this out. We were the first rock station in the country to play it.
No
and
kidding.
They gave me a gold record for it.
Isn't that nice?
You still got it?
Yeah, I do.
That's awesome, actually. Holy smokes. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and text line. If you want to shoot us a text or give us a call if anything's on your mind, feel free. I saw INXS twice. I saw them open for the Go-Go's.
Oh, nice.
At Six Flags Over Georgia in 1984.
That's a great
Awesome.
Yeah, it was.
that was Shabu Shaba era.
They were raucous. I mean, and they were really like banging. I was excited to see them. I was like, yeah, they're good. I was actually, friend's little sister wanted to go, and his mom said, hey, would you go with the girls? A bunch of like seventh grade girls wanted to see the Go-Go's. So I show up. I'm like a college kid, and I'm just making sure that 5 or 6 seventh grade girls get into the concert fine. But then I said, hey, save me a seat. I'd like to see the show. And I went in there thinking INXS, yeah, they might be okay. All this to say, nobody there wanted to see INXS. It was just nothing but Go-Go's fans, except me, because INXS came out, one song in, I was like, this game's over. The Go-Go's can't possibly compete with what's happening up here, because I didn't know how muscular, if you don't mind my saying that word, INXS was. They were just badass, and their drummer was a monster.
Yes,
monster drummer. I was like, holy crap, who knew? And then I saw them a couple years later when they were like their own headliner at an arena show, and it was the same thing. I just stood there in absolute disbelief at what a great badass rock band they were, even though they were moving into the dance stuff like we just heard. But it was like, okay, fair enough. All the Australian drummers, they all hit so hard.
Yeah,
they're just, they've got great attitudes, mate. They're just going to swing those sticks hard. Just badass. Anyway, I did not expect to go on an INXS jag, but I was listening to that song going, man, that's as good a live band as I ever saw.
I get out of my seat when NXS is on. They're just, that one band that, kind of defied what I was listening to at the time. Either when I was listening to the Mats, it was all Husker Du in the suburbs and hard into that, and then the metal stuff and everything. But always had some time for NXS. Going back to like I said, that Shabu Shaba, the one thing.
Yeah, the one thing.
Those great tunes, yeah.
We were talking earlier in the show about the destruction of phones, mostly cell phones. Doesn't have to be a smartphone, even cell phones. A lot of text messages and posts on the KQ Facebook page. Here's a good one. I was on a ladder talking on my Nextel flip phone. I had a Nextel flip phone back in the day. Lost my footing, dropped it, and fell/jumped off. Landed on the phone, broke it in half. It could still make and receive calls. I just couldn't see who was calling. That's awesome. He said the old Nextel phones ruled. I wish they still made phones like that. The chirp feature was awesome. Yeah, man. No kidding. I had that flip phone. I had a silver one. It was just cool, man. I dug it.
Yeah.
My brother used to be a Motorola rep, so in the 90s, 2 different times he gave me a Motorola phone,
cool.
and I used it and then got the first bill and never turned it on again, because that's when it used to cost. One was a car phone and then one was a mobile phone. And not that you could get a signal too easily, but that was a flip phone too. I had one. I had a Nokia flip phone, and I programmed the ring to just be, it was just this doot, 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 doot. That was my ring. And so when the phone was in my pocket, anytime it would ring, I just started walking backwards. like I'm a truck backing up.
Hilarious.
And I would just do that to see who noticed. And like there'd always be like one person who would immediately get it and laugh. And then there's just all these people who look at you like, what are you doing? I'd be like,
why are you
nothing.
not still doing that?
And then I would just pull my phone out and answer it. You know what? It's been a long time, but I'm sure I got an iPhone now. It's probably got that same
It's
ring.
evergreen, baby.
Yeah, it's
I
good
mentioned
shit.
earlier this morning that, it's nothing more Minnesotan than dropping your phone in the lake. I lost one in the lake. A buddy of mine threw his in the lake playing catch with his dog. Steve, you mentioned right before the break dropping it in ice fishing, dropping it in the hole that you just punched out. So many of them on the KQ Facebook post. Tim, when I had our resort, my ice fishing peeps dropped 3 phones down their holes one morning. I was able to retrieve 2 of them.
Oh, man.
Samantha, my son, dropped it in the hole while ice fishing. A few years later, he dropped it in the woods during deer hunting. I lose a lot of them out there. And then there's another, Tom. First time I was out ice fishing, I was sitting in the shanty, had my phone in my shirt pocket, and bent over. We know what happened then.
Yeah.
I said, boy, those things used to really sink like a sinker, wouldn't they? They'd go right to the bottom.
Boom. I like this one. Johnny said, threw it into the swamp as I drove by. Too many people blowing up my phone. Hindsight, I could have just turned it off.
Yeah.
I told you my story. I threw mine right into a concrete wall, leaving a football game that I was very disappointed in, disillusioned.
That's passion, baby.
And my Titans had lost to the Ravens, and all my Baltimore nephews were calling me to taunt me and texting, and I was just so angry. I was like, forget it. I got to get out of here. Boom. Have you ever had your phone get wet, and have you ever put it in rice and did it work?
No, I mean, I've not done that. I lost mine in the lake. That's in the bottom of Minnetonka right now. But I've had a couple of friends do it. A friend, she swears it works. And the other friend, in fact, it was a happy hour argument, said it was a bunch of bunk. Is there any science behind it?
I've heard about that. I mean, any idea, Ryder? If you stick a wet phone in rice, does it suck the moisture out, and does your phone still work?
I mean, my phone is kind of garbage, so I don't really know. But my husband insists that it does work.
Oh, really?
It still seems kind of sketchy. Like, I still can't get it to charge right.
I got you.
right.
What's with this garbage phone? Do we need to do a GoFundMe to get you? What's happening? Come on.
I just upgraded recently from that Nokia phone that you could play Snake on, and
Sure.
now I have a legit hardcore, real smart
Wow.
You are old school.
Man, that is old school.
Yeah. I was just driving a stick shift until like a couple years ago too.
Well, that's cool.
I salute you.
Yeah. I dig the stick. I don't even know. What did I see? So it's less than 1% of cars now are stick shift.
I learned
It's
to
hard to
drive
find
on a
them, yeah.
stick before I knew how to use a stick.
Oh, yeah. You had to learn how before you did?
Yeah.
That's all we had out on the farm, That was the going thing, probably because it was the cheapest thing they offered on 4 wheels. So that's what Dad was going for. But, yeah, I learned on the stick. But I have not done the old shift thing. Now they have the cars, the new ones you buy. They have the paddles on the steering wheels. You get something sporty.
I got that.
The paddle thing freaks me out. I think I'm going to drop the transmission on the road. I don't go near it. But it's been a while since I've even jumped into a car that had a stick.
Yeah, I learned on a stick. We had 3 cars when I learned to drive. There was my dad's car, which I never drove once. He was the only guy that drove it. Yeah. And then we had an Audi Fox and a Datsun 210, both of which were manual. So I learned. I had been driving for over a year the first time I got into an automatic, and I had no idea what to do. Like literally, I was like, wait. And I mean, I'd been in cars like that. I'd seen it. But the first time driving it, I could not get used to it. I felt like I had no control over the vehicle. Like, I don't like this. I'm supposed to be moving my right hand on that gear shifter. Come on. But, yeah, I missed it. I haven't driven a stick shift in I rented a stick shift in 2013. That's the last time I drove one. And I was so excited when it was a stick.
I stomped on that phantom clutch like a lot when I was
you do.
shift over back to the automatic.
Hell yeah.
What do you do? You got all this free time with your hands now, don't you? That's kind of cool. About once a month, I see a story about grand theft, and they didn't steal it because it was a stick. I mean, if you're looking for the perfect Grand Theft Auto device and a deterrent right now, rather, it might just be going with a stick. By the way, going back to destroying your phones, I'm on the KQRS Facebook post, 651-989-ROCK. You've got a good destroyed your phone story. This has to be the most unique I've ever heard. Kelly, running a 5K Halloween race in the 1980s wool cheerleader outfit.
Ooh, boy.
An original one from my high school and actually fit. Had my phone tucked in the 1990s, maybe it was the 90s. Had my phone tucked in the layers of clothing. The phone got so hot it overheated and stopped working. I only had it for 2 weeks. She overheated a phone on a 5K in a wool cheerleader outfit.
I want to go back to the fact that it still fit from high school, Kelly. Well played. Well done. That's a strong flex, and you earned it.
Nice.
Absolutely nice. So that's going back to the 80s. So that's a Gen X. That's a Gen X comment right there. Gen Xers. There's a video online about boomers they would drink out of a hose a long time ago. It went viral, and a Gen Xer wanted to respond to that. And so let's just take a listen and see if any of this is relatable to any of us here on the show.
When y'all are saying that y'all used to drink from the hose, were sinks not an option?
Who's going to tell them? You want me to tell them? We weren't allowed in the house. Our childhood was like one never-ending episode of that TV show Survivor. We are indestructible. We've never sat in car seats. Nobody's ever given us swimming lessons. We've all been either shot with a BB gun or stabbed with a dart. The television stations had to make a commercial reminding our parents that they had kids. Every night on the 10 p.m. news, a voice would come on and say, "It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?" Sinks were not an option.
Think about that. That is a great point. There were PSAs. Do you know where your children are? That was a thing. Had to have them. When I was a kid, 7, 8 years old, the summer rule was just be in when it gets dark, and that was after 9 p.m. You know, I mean, like first, second graders. My kids would have never at that age been running around our neighborhood. Unsupervised until dark. They didn't run around the neighborhood in the middle of the day unsupervised.
Oh, no.
I mean, and I would have loved it, but I recognized early on, if you raise your kids in the 2000s the way you were raised in the 70s, people will just flat out call child services on you.
Oh, yeah. It was, and although I don't think that was my motive, it's weird, isn't it? Because, I like to talk tough about Gen X, this is the way we were raised and that sort of thing, but I never had a moment where I thought that was a good idea for my kids.
No, not at all.
I know, but they were in the suburbs, a very safe suburb. Prior Lake doesn't get much safer than that, but maybe having grown up out in the country, there were just too many people around. Christina P., a comedian out there, does a great little bit on Gen X here, less than a minute.
Because I'm Generation X. I'm Gen X, man. I grew up playing on scorching hot metal monkey bars in the middle of summer. And when I fell, it wasn't onto foam or mulch. I fell onto a dead hobo. Yes, I grew up swimming in the LA River. It's not a river, it's a sewer. And back in the day, everyone got bullied. Everyone got bullied. And then when you went home and told your parents about it, they would bully you for not standing up for yourself.
Yeah.
Damn straight they would. The first video or audio you played, where she says, "Yeah, we got shot. You got shot by a BB gun." Yep. I'm assuming we've all been shot by a BB gun. I have.
Sure. Oh yeah, several times.
Yeah. Never had a BB gun. Never. My dad had been in the Marines, and he was very familiar with guns, but he didn't like them. I think he was smart enough to recognize none of my 6 boys should be armed ever, because we got to pay for a funeral pretty soon if that happens.
You'll rebel.
But I had friends with BB guns, and there was a time I actually remember there being an errant shot. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to hit you with the BB gun. And the payback was, well, then I have to shoot you now. And it was like, and everybody had we had a little summit meeting. It was in my friend Brooke's driveway. And it's like, well, John shot Brooke, so Brooke gets to shoot John. I don't know about that. We all talked it out. And we were like, no,
sit down. That's
the penalty. That's what you have to do. And so then John he turned his back and he was waiting for the shot. And then Brooke just tortures him by not pulling the trigger. Oh. He's like, come on, do it. He goes, hang on, I'm just aiming. And he held him out and finally did. He shot him right in the ass. And John's like, ah! They're all screaming. Yeah. But you know what? We just went on back. Okay, we all good. We're back. We're friends again. Here we go. If you looked out your kitchen window in 2024, and 2 10-year-olds were standing there with BB guns and I'm gonna mete out justice here. You'd be like, what are you doing? That's not possible. Such a different time.
We had, when my cousins would come over, we'd have 6 boys with BB guns, and we hunted each other. We went out in the trees and the dumps, and we shot the hell out of each other, and it hurt. I remember years later playing paintball with my brother, and we're like, yeah, we dominated. We're like, this is nothing, man. But yeah, BB gun wars, and that was my first shot with a BB gun. We got them for Christmas, put on our coveralls, to go outside and play with our new BB guns. Chris walked out the front door, much like the slingshot, but this time I just shot him right in the back, right between the shoulder blades. I just wanted to see what would happen. Yeah,
sure. Well, there's a great way to find out what's going to happen, and that's to make something happen. And you're just showing gumption. My kids, I remember telling them not that long ago, actually, a story that blew them away. Like, they literally looked at me like I was from the 1800s. And it was very simple. I was 10 years old, and my family moved from Maryland to Kentucky. And for the first week we were in town, we stayed at the Holiday Inn. And so we had 2 rooms, my parents in one, or 3 rooms, my parents in one room, my sister in another room, and then for the 3 youngest boys in a room, all 3 of us. And so I started going to school. We all went to school. I was in 5th grade, and my first week of school, the school bus picked me up at the Holiday Inn and dropped me off at the Holiday Inn.
Oh, wow.
Funny.
And so I would get off of a school bus. I would walk into a hotel. I had a key in my pocket, and I would just go to my room. And my brothers and sister, they didn't get home until like 30 minutes later. And my mom was always at the house that we were moving into, getting it set up and ready. And so I was on my own. I mean, I would get off of school bus at like 3 in the afternoon, and till 3:45 or 4 o'clock, I was just on my own. I had access to the room. I'd go. I'd jump in the pool, take a dip, just totally alone. I had just turned 10 the month before.
Like a traveling businessman.
I was, and I would talk to the person at the front desk, like, "Hey, how's it going? Good to see you." I thought I was 10, acting like I was 20. I told my kids that story, and I kid you not, they looked at me like either I'm from the 1800s or I'm from the future, but it was definitely not something they could relate to on any level. And they were like, at 10 years old, you were just getting off a bus and walking into a hotel lobby by yourself. I was like, yeah, man, that's how it used to go.
Yeah.
And, I did have the benefit of having so many older siblings. I was always a little ahead of kids my age, but that was not unusual in 1975. That wasn't like, nobody was freaking out at the idea of a 10-year-old kid just, going about his business. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and Text line. Who's on the horn, Tony?
Janelle from Osceola wants to share.
Janelle, good morning.
Good morning.
What do you got for us?
I was mentioning the first time my parents put me on a Greyhound bus by myself, I was in the 1st grade, 7 years old.
From where to where?
Clear Lake, Wisconsin, up to Washburn, up on Lake Superior.
Okay, and so, how many hours was that trip? Do you remember?
Well, typically it's about a 2.5-hour drive. I would assume on a Greyhound bus it was probably 4 to 5 hours.
Okay.
And they told me, they said, do not get off the bus, whatever you do. So in Hayward, when there was a rest stop, I got off the bus and went to the strip mall by myself.
At 7?
At 7.
Wow.
And nobody batted an eye.
Oh, my God.
No, of course not.
Oh, man.
I feel like you're going to say, yeah, I've never seen my family since. I changed my name and they never knew it happened to me. It just sounds like an incredible, that's a hell of an escapade for a 7-year-old.
Yeah, well, I thought it was a great adventure. That was like my slacks. I was telling everybody in my class I was going on a Greyhound bus by myself.
Heck yeah, you were. That is awesome. Trip. That's fantastic. That's a great. That says it all right there. We can't possibly top it. Thank you for the call, Janelle.
I knew I saw it.
It's like Home Alone.
Thanks, Janelle. I knew I saw this story just last week. Yeah, it's only about a week old. A mother, they called the cops on her because she left her 9-year-old at home.
Yeah, right.
To go out and run errands for the day. Mm-hmm. Actually, I think she got drunk and didn't come home till the next day. There may be some other factors involved, but yeah, no, you don't get around. Yeah, 1st grader on the bus off to the strip mall.
I used to rock the Greyhound back in the day a lot. From Atlanta, I would run over to South Carolina to see my brother. He lived on the shore over there, and so I'd get on that 4 or 5 hour trip on the Greyhound, 4 hour trip in a car, 6 hour trip in the Greyhound. the conversations alone, the people you end up hanging out with and talking to. I mean, I sat next to a girl once from Atlanta to Columbia, South Carolina, and she talked the entire time. My name's Cindy Bowen, like bow and arrow. I'm like, that's the first thing she said. I'm like, okay.
All right.
And she was going to be a singer, and she was going to be a star, and she was going to do this, and she literally talked the entire time. And it was probably 3 hours into the drive, and it hit me. I was like, oh, she's so high on drugs. Oh,
Yeah.
I get it now. Yeah, that's right. She's completely gonzo tweaking and just thinks I want to hear all this. And then it made it more enjoyable once I put two and two together. Up until then, I was trying to figure out how to ask her to just shut up. And then I was like, wait, this is fantastic. This is great stuff.
You get on a Greyhound, a boy. You get off a man.
That's exactly right. I didn't know I had hair on my chest until I got off that first bus trip. Oh my gosh, that's a great one. So where are we at here? We're talking. You know what I wanted to look at?
Yeah.
Things that we all do on a daily basis that may or may not be, meaning they are unethical. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, May the 31st. We were just discussing some things Gen Xers like ourselves grew up with or without, if you will, experiences we had that our kids certainly and kids in between probably cannot relate to. We had a great call. I think it was Janelle said she remembered being 7 and her parents put her on a Greyhound bus for a 4 or 5 hour trip as a 7-year-old. Don't get off the bus. And she hopped right off and went to a mall, as a 7-year-old would do. That's not something you're ever going to see again. You'll never be on a public bus with an unattended 7-year-old, I don't think. On the KQ Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK, if you have a story to share, please feel free to call or text. Andy wrote, when I was 8, I flew from Colorado to New York to visit my dad. I had a 3-hour layover in Newark. They have a layover area for kids traveling alone. It was almost like a daycare. It was just me and the guy working in the room. And in the background on the TV, a true crime show about a man who caught and tortured teenage boys.
Oh.
My
Let
God.
it sink in.
That is rough, man. That's like, yeah. And
it's been Gacy.
And I guarantee you when he got to where he was going, his dad saw him. How was the trip? Fine. Kid, this is great. All good. Just fine.
We were the serial killer generation. They didn't have that. They weren't exposed. They weren't out in the open and profiled and all of that. Prior to our generation, all of a sudden it was one serial killer. It seemed like story after another, starting in the 70s.
Check this one out. I was 12. Took the bus to Atlanta from St. Paul. It took 1.5 days. Yeah, I know it did. I begged my dad to let me visit my best friend that moved from where we lived. He gave in. Some guy gave me a cigarette. I was so cool. 1978. A 12-year-old on a day and a half long Greyhound journey from St. Paul to Atlanta. Yeah, that is a lot of stops, changing of buses. I mean, I went from Kentucky to Georgia on a Greyhound bus when I was 21, and it took like 11 hours. Like a 3.5 hour. Well, no, a 4.5 hour drive tops was 11 or 12 on the Greyhound. And I was 21, and there was a couple times I was like, I don't feel too good about this. I can't imagine being 12 and being in that situation for so long. That's just such a different time. But the Greyhound would have been one thing. I can't imagine flying as a kid. I didn't get on a plane till I was 20. So seems like actually getting on a plane, especially unaccompanied as a little kid, that's so far beyond anything I could have imagined. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and Text line. Tony, who we got?
Oh, we got a bunch of good responses. First up, we got Jim from Zimbrota.
Jim, good morning. Jim, you with us?
Hello.
What do you got, brother?
Hey, when we were young kids in about 1960, I think I was probably 10, I'd gone on a road trip with my parents to we were going to Florida, but my parents stopped at a convention in New Orleans and they put my two brothers and a sister on an airplane in New Orleans, and we had tags around our neck, and my grandparents picked us up at the airport in Tampa.
Fair enough.
Tagged him.
And
Just tag him, yeah.
how old were you?
I was probably 10. And everybody else was younger.
What? Wow. Do you remember? Were you scared? Did you feel okay about it?
No, it was like, heck, this was a heck of an adventure. We get to ride on an airplane, and 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 I think I remember there were no jetways or anything like that. I remember we walked out across the tarmac. And the stewardesses all took care of us. They all took care of my little sister. And, that was way back when. And
you probably
could get by with that kind of stuff.
Probably better off on a plane than a bus.
I
It's
think
just a
so.
different clientele and no flight attendants on the bus.
Yeah, no, very much so. Hey, Jim, thanks for the call, brother. That's good stuff.
I hopped on a plane with my sister when I was 9. We went out to Billings, Montana, visit my grandparents.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So you were 9. How old was your sister?
11.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
it was great. We brought treats and Mad magazines.
Yeah, my buddy Nick, who's a St. Paul guy originally, he and his brothers, for a spell they lived in Southern California, and his stepmom was a Northwest Airlines flight attendant.
Oh, nice.
And there were just vouchers laying around the house, like free tickets for family, I guess. And there were several times Nick and his brothers, these are 10, 12, 14-year-old kids. They would just go to LAX with vouchers, and they would just get on a flight to Phoenix or Vegas or San Francisco and then land and hang out for a while, do something, and get on a plane back to LA.
Right.
And literally, their parents wouldn't know.
Yeah, right. Jane says here that at 14, she would leave on Friday and tell her mom and dad that she was going to a friend's for the weekend. And there was no checking up, anything. She'd just be gone the entire weekend. Sometimes she went to her friends. Sometimes she didn't go to her friends. Oof. And now her kids, she has the track feature on their phone 24/7.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course you do. Well, the parents who did all the crazy stuff are the strictest parents. You just got to keep your kids from being as completely insane as you were. Jimmy on the text line wrote, I would walk to the local little gas station and buy my mom cigarettes and my dad a tin of Copenhagen at 10 years old. I got a chunky candy bar for payment. You, sir, were well paid, because to this day, I will see a chunky bar and I can't not purchase it. They got them at Electric Fetus. Every time I go in there, I'm like, I'll take these 3 records and this chunky bar. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My grandma Weibly in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, when we go visit her in the summer at the trailer park there in Mechanicsburg, she would send myself or Chris or both of us, and we were single digits, probably 8, 9, something like that, down to the grocery store at the end of the street to buy her some Winstons.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
No questions asked.
No harm, no foul. 651-989 Rock is the KQ Talking text line. Who we got, Tony?
Say hi to John from Sturgeon Lake.
John, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
What's up, brother?
So visualize, it was 1965. Okay, so I was born in 61. I was 4 years old.
Okay.
My brother, who was 4 years older than I am, so he's 8. My parents put us on a train from Minneapolis to Madison to go see our grandparents.
Yeah.
8 and 4, they packed us a lunch, put us on this train, and off we went. I'm sure my brother was completely out of his mind, terrified, but there we went. We got there, visited grandparents, had a great time, and they drove down afterwards, and then we drove home after that. But yeah, that was quite an experience.
Yeah, I would say so.
4
years old.
Did you go from car to car? Did you just kind of stay in your seat and stare out the window? Do you remember actually what you were doing during the trip?
I was 4 years old, so I honestly don't remember a lot about what was going on, but my guess is that we were probably told to stay in our seats. And, my brother, who was 8 years old, he was in charge of his 4-year-old little brother.
Sure he was.
I'm sure, again, he was trying to be responsible for himself and his little brother. I'm sure we sat there and just looked out the window for 4.5 hours.
Yeah, that was
how long the trip was.
Wally and the Beaver just sitting there eating their sandwiches at the right time. That's awesome. Thank you for the call, man.
You bet. See ya.
I just remembered my cousin Scott flew to visit us one summer, came in from Detroit by himself, and so he was probably 11. And I thought, and so that would, I'm 6 or 7. And just knowing that we went to the airport and picked up a kid by himself, I was like, that's the coolest dude in the world. There's no way I could do this. There's no way my brothers would do that. But my cousin, that's the coolest guy I've ever met. You know how cousins are.
Yeah, they can be real cool.
Brothers without the baggage. You think everything they do is the coolest thing ever.
Right. You only see them in their best moments.
It is crazy. What happened? Were we really? You said earlier, Zev, we're from the time of serial killers. Did we literally lose so many kids that the country one day decided we can't let kids travel alone anymore? Because I shouldn't say never. I very rarely see a kid on a plane by themselves anymore. When you do, they have the thing around their neck and the flight attendants make a fuss and they'll mention it. But I'm just thinking 25, 30 years ago, there was always unattended kids on flights.
I think that had a lot to do with it, to be honest with you, because when they pulled those 22 boys out of Gacy's basement, I remember the Gacy thing, mom and dad watching it on the news. I think those kind of things had profound effects on parents. They were realizing, wait a second, this could happen to our kid. Here's a suburban guy that likes to dress up like a clown. They didn't see the warning signs there. Right? I'll let my son. He would walk a young boy out. They would, let them take care of their son, never to be seen again. But I think that probably had an effect on it. We're coming into more of an information age, more information than we had prior to that.
Yeah.
And now look where we're at. No wonder parents freak out. Every day you talk about doom scrolling. We get on these little computers on our phones, and it's like, I don't even want the kid to go out the front door. I don't want him to go to school. Maybe they should just stay right here. But
that's exactly right.
I think that's it. The more we got to know about that big, wide, weird world out there, the more parents started freaking out.
Here's a text. When I was 8, I had the key to the front door of the bar and restaurant that we lived above. Matt from Balsam Lake. Sure.
Yeah.
My buddy Tom grew up in Cleveland, and his dad ran a bar. And it was like men only, like his mom never went. And then his dad passed away early, and his mom had to take over the bar, and then she ran it for years. And Tom grew up just literally working, after school, going in there. And, he was 9, 10, 11 years old, and in Cleveland, working class bar, he's pouring drinks. And no one's going to come in there at that time. In the 70s, your 10-year-old kid can pour a good pint. That's not a problem. That's a talent. It's like, hell yeah, he can. What are you kidding?
Yeah.
Man.
I don't know if he's got a lot of advice behind the bar, but you talk about a growing-up job. I bet he saw and heard some things before we did.
Yeah. There's no question about it. Again, on the KQ Talking text line, I used to Greyhound between Minneapolis and Duluth alone. Mom packed my food. There was always someone there to pick me up at the destination. Yeah, it was a simpler time. Yeah. And the one, the first call we had, she said she got on a bus when she was 7. Her parents said, just don't get off the bus. That was the key. That thing stops a lot. You got to remember, just stay on it. You'll get there eventually. Who's on the phone, Tony?
Dave from Andover is with us.
Dave, good morning.
Hello.
What do you got, brother?
When I have an identical twin brother. My parents divorced. My dad moved us out here to Minnesota, New York. And every year, my dad would drive out to New York to visit his parents and our family out there. While we were there, me and my brother would spend 2 weeks with my mom. One year they weren't going, decided, hey, let's put them on a flight. We'll fly them out there. Their mom can pick them up at the airport and then send them home. And then when we finally get out there, they can just ride home with us if they drive. Well, get on the plane, everything's great. My brother gets the window seat. I'm jealous. We get to Chicago O'Hare Airport, and we're flying into small-town rinky-dink airport, New York. Well, we get to Chicago, and there's supposed to be somebody there to meet us. Nobody's there. So me and my brother, at 9 years old, we're trying to navigate Chicago O'Hare Airport. to get to our connecting flight. We got there. We actually somehow, I don't know, we found it. We had a couple seconds. Well, there was a frozen yogurt stand. So me and my brother decided, so why not? Let's get frozen yogurt. Because that's a good idea. So we get on this little treetop airline, and I'm excited because I get the window now. Well, this thing dropped, I swear to God, 1,000 feet every 10 minutes. From the air pocket.
Yeah.
So
sure.
we finally get there. Everybody, or my brother is sicker than heck. I've got my ears plugged. I've got my eyes closed. I'm just trying to make it down to the ground.
Yeah.
Finally get on the ground, get off the plane, meet my mom. She's like, how's the flight? It was an absolute nightmare, and we were never put on another plane again.
Man.
But I don't know. Somehow me and my brother managed to navigate Chicago O'Hare Airport at 9 years old. So
Wow.
Yeah,
something went right.
That's awesome. It's not an easy airport to navigate right now. Trust me. It's a complete.
Don't want to navigate it.
No, it's a grease fire every day. Thank you for the call. That's great.
Carla's got a great one here. We slather our kids in sunscreen now, right?
Yeah.
She was talking about when she was a kid, her mom would slather them in tanning oil to make them burn faster, and then even sometimes give them aluminum foil to reflect the light on themselves.
That's right.
And now we
gosh.
just cake our kids. Back then, it was like, all right, go out there and get yourself a good deep burn.
Sure.
Oil.
Yeah, I mean, when we have family photos and all of us are at the pool. I don't remember ever having suntan. Nothing was applied that I can remember.
No, God,
it was just go out there, be in the sun. If you're hot, get in the shade. Whatever, you're fine.
Farm kids, man, we just baked in that thing.
Oh, heck yeah,
out there, and. Yeah, all of those things. Of course, some hear about the jagged playground equipment. Yeah, weren't any safety features out there. It was all built on gravel, and there were jagged pieces everywhere. And
oh, sure.
And then they were largely unsupervised.
Speaking of largely unsupervised, just the prevailing memory when we're thinking about all these things, where I went to elementary school, next door through the trees was the junior high. And every day, if you took that path, there were just a group of 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6, what we called hippies, just out there just smoking cigarettes and weed during school in the woods every day. Every day. Just go out there, we got out of school first, so we'd cut through the woods, and they're still sitting there. And I just thought, man, just the idea that they had smoking places in the school, much less in the trees near the school.
Yeah.
And I was just old enough to know what Helter Skelter was, and so I was always a little wary with the hippies. Never know. Can't really tell if they got a Manson thing going or not. It was a very different time. We'd still love to hear from you. 651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line. Lot of things that aren't the way they used to be. That is faux show.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday, May 31st, 2024, which is a long way. It's 50 years and a million miles from the 70s. We've been talking about things we used to do as kids a lot of travel stories as kids that you just don't see happening anymore. On the KQ Talk and Text line, the texts have lit up. The phone lines have lit up. We're going to squeeze in as many as we can. Tony, who have we got on the phone right now?
We have John from Roseville.
John, good morning, sir.
Yes.
What do you got for us, brother?
Hi, this is John from Roseville. I got a story from when I was a kid flying by myself.
Yeah, let's hear it.
My brother. Yeah, I was. My brother and I. My parents got divorced, and my dad lived out of state, so he lived up in Williston, North Dakota, and we took a commercial flight from the Twin Cities to Minot, and it was in a snowstorm in January, so they had to ground the plane. And when they grounded the plane, my parents did not want us wandering around the Minot airport by ourselves. So somehow they managed to get us on a single-engine, 4-seater airplane. And then we flew the rest of the way to Williston, North Dakota in a snowstorm. I was sitting next to the pilot, and my little brother was sitting in the back seat. And we flew through the snowstorm, and all I could see was the captain talking once in a while to whoever, the control tower or whatever. And next thing you know, we're in Williston, North Dakota. I don't know why a commercial flight couldn't do it, but we could do it in a 4-seater. I was 12, my brother was 8.
Oh, my gosh.
Apparently they weren't Buddy Holly fans.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for the call, man. Yeah, that's not the kind of thing you see these days. Here's a text. I was in the 7th grade, flew solo from Fargo to Amish country in Pennsylvania to go to a nationally recognized gymnastics camp. I had to change planes at O'Hare, did it without any help from a flight attendant, then had to take the 20-seat puddle jumper from Philadelphia to some remote town near the camp. The propellers were so loud I couldn't hear anything for hours after landing. The camp director kept talking to me, and all I could do was nod and smile until my ears popped finally when I went to bed. Ella in Minneapolis. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's
great. And, it's just like that. Like, you could have the worst day when you're a kid, and an adult goes, how was it? And you're like, it was fine. Yeah. It was okay. Everything's cool. She couldn't hear a word anybody's saying to her for 8 hours.
Yeah, they didn't want to hear otherwise. I mean, if you started to complain, they'd just tell you to quit whining anyway. So, yeah, just smile and nod your head.
651-989-ROCK is the number. Tony, who else we got?
Say hi to Art from Sauk Rapids.
Art, good morning.
Morning.
What do you got for us?
First things first. You guys are doing an awesome job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Art.
Sure, a story from a different era. 69 years ago, in 1955, I was 5, and my parents took me to Midway Airport in Chicago before O'Hara and before jets. Stuck me on an airplane, found some dude in a Air Force uniform and asked him to kick me off in Wausau, Wisconsin, where my dad's uncle picked me up and I spent the summers on the farm.
Yeah.
What in the world?
Yeah,
I guess it all worked out okay.
It was a good time.
Yeah, it was. That's fantastic. Art coming in strong. I like that. Kick him off the plane in Wausau. Thanks.
I think we expected other parents, other adults back then.
Yeah.
Expected other parents to just somebody will take care of them. Somebody will look out for them along the way.
Yep. You would think, here's another text. Took the trailways from New York to Pennsylvania for baseball camp. I was 10. That's right. Who else is on the phone, Tony?
Dave from Andover. Hey.
Dave.
Yeah, hello.
What do you got, brother?
Hey, my daughter used to fly by herself when she was 4. She lived in Texas, and I lived up here, in the Twin Cities. And her mother would put her on a plane by herself in Dallas, and then she'd fly up here, and then, I'd be waiting for her. And then at the end of the summer, she spent summers with me up here. I'd bring her out to the airport, and she'd get on a plane, and then her mother would be waiting for her down in Dallas.
Strong kid right there, getting back and forth at 4 years old.
Yeah,
Thank you for
she's 51 now, and she's an amazing, great marriage, 2 kids of her own. And, hey, another trick I used to pull with a buddy of mine, this was way back in the early 70s. You buy a ticket from here to California, you know, but you had to have stops in between. So you'd buy it for the first stop, which was usually Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd stop in, I don't know, like Cheyenne, Wyoming, Denver, and then it'd fly into L.A. Well, I'd buy a ticket for Sioux Falls and just stay on the plane and not get off on any of those stops, and I'd end up in L.A. I'd be able to fly out to L.A. for $26.
Get out of here. They never checked?
Huh?
They wouldn't check to make sure?
This was back in the early, like the late 60s, early 70s.
Oh, that's fantastic.
They didn't count heads, nothing. But
can't even do that at a movie theater anymore.
I know. Anyway, one time, this was back when, what was that big deal in South Dakota where the FBI agents got murdered?
Out on the reservation. Wounded knee.
Anyway, I get on a plane, and there were FBI agents, all kinds of law enforcement, and going, to Wounded Knee, and the plane was full, and they were asking people to get off, and I didn't have a ticket. You know, I just sat there and pretended I was asleep.
Attaboy.
You know, and no one said anything, and I still made it through.
Man, that is outstanding. Thank you for the call and that story. I love that, buying the ticket to Sioux Falls and getting out to the West Coast on it. Awesome. Tony, who else have we got?
Next up, Jeremy from Blaine.
Jeremy, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
What's happening?
Well, my dad and uncle, along with Grandma, started out. She's from Frederick, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And so when my dad was born in 49, my grandma started going up to Frederick, Wisconsin about once a month during the spring and summer so Grandpa could just work all weekend. And once they hit, so they were 4 years apart, 3 and 7. At 3 and 7, Grandma started just dropping them off at the train station by themselves and letting them hop on the train to go to see Grandma and Grandpa in Frederick, Wisconsin, all by themselves.
Yeah, that's God, man. It just makes me want to. I just want to go back and get my kids when they were younger and just stick them on a plane somewhere, just so they have the experience. Yeah. Stick them on a train.
It was, a whole different time frame back then. Like the one guy said before about finding somebody that looked respectable. You know, they got to know the train conductor, and by the time and my uncle was a very mature 7-year-old. I can say that. So. But, yeah, just crazy how things were a lot different back then.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for the call, brother. On the KQ Talk and text line right now, this is a text. In 1976, I was 7 years old, and if we were having a barbecue, my folks would let me light the fire with briquettes and lighter fluid, unsupervised.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, they would.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I remember, throwing hairspray cans in the garbage, and Dad's like, back up when you guys do that. Don't not do it. The Aquanet cans would rocket 50 feet in the air randomly and land anywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Dad was just like, well, back up a little bit if you're going to do that.
Oh, that's exactly. All right, who else we got on the horn, Tony?
Big Jim from Hutchison.
Big Jim, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How you doing? Love your show, man.
Thank you, brother. What do you got for us?
Well, day after Christmas, 1969, I was 16 years old. And my brother-in-law was in the Navy, stationed up in Newport, Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
And I was flying from Erie to Philadelphia and then to Providence. And we got close to Philadelphia, and they had just gotten a huge ice storm. And when we landed, the plane, it was an old prop plane. I was sitting on the window seat on the wing. And we landed, and that plane was sideways down the runway. And I'm like, yeah, and people are screaming. And but, and there was a kid there, or a guy there, and he was in his Navy uniform, and he goes, hey, kid, where you going? I go, Newport. Oh, okay. He goes, stick with me. I'll make sure you get there.
Yeah.
So, okay. So nothing was going. We ended up on a train from Philadelphia to Providence. And going through New York City was like it stopped at every street.
Yeah, sure.
And, that was a long, long trip.
Yeah, that was a long trip.
Anyways, this Navy guy really, helped me out a lot. And I'm 72, and I can recall it like it was yesterday.
Oh, I bet, man. That first trip, and especially one with all that going on, that's as impactful as it gets. Thank you for the call, man. We appreciate you listening.
Yeah.
On the text line, for swimming lessons in the 70s, we were required to swim across a lake, which was almost 2 miles. I think we wore life jackets. Our instructor checked on us in a rowboat and would give us orange slice candy to keep us going. It took 4 hours. Are you sure that wasn't lifeguard training or Navy SEAL training? What in the world?
Yeah, we were just, just send them off. We'll make more if we have to.
That's exactly it.
Jerry, not on the traveling topic, but wrote here that when our mothers wiped our faces, it was usually spit on Dad's hanky, not antibacterial wipes.
Oh, yeah. That's a very good point.
Oh, yeah. Just
very good
Just a little
point.
spit that'll come right off.
And who else we got on the phone, Tony?
Steve is in his auto. They call him the Big O.
The Big O. Good morning.
Well.
What's happening?
You tell us, brother. What have you got for us?
So, you guys were talking about the old when things were simpler time. When I was a little kid, I was running around, and I'd eat dinner at other people's houses. So this family, I don't even remember where, but they called my mom and said, "Hey, can Stevie eat over?" And she said, "Yeah. Who is this?" Didn't even know where I was or who I was with, but yeah.
Come on over.
Sure. Hey, man.
That's all I got.
That's
Thanks,
great.
Big O.
That's great.
Right on.
We were talking. My mom had a birthday last week, and I was down. Spent a day with her and catching up, and a bunch of we had the siblings all on the Zoom call. Everybody's talking, and we were laughing about just the neighborhood in the 70s. It was just a ton of families, and there were some people across the street. I went to their house once, and I had a glass of grape juice, and so I just thought that's what you did. I was like 5, and I just walked over there one day, knocked on the door, or actually just opened the front door, and Mrs. Dunlap, she goes, "Honey, can I help you something?" And I was like, "Can I have some grape juice?" She was like, She goes, "Sure." She just popped me up on they had to. I thought it was so cool because they had they had an island with the high chairs, like a tall chairs.
Oh, yeah.
Like a bar. I was like, that's fancy.
Modern.
And she just gave me a glass of grape juice, and I drank it, said, "See ya," and I left. And I did that like several times. That was my thing. I would be like, "I'd like to get some of that grape juice," and I would just walk across the street and ask for it.
You had one for the road.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. Here's Alan. In 1977, if you didn't have a pocket knife at 10 years of age on the playground, you were a loser. Yeah. We were walking around with pocket knives.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
What could go wrong? Nothing at all. We got anybody else on the horn?
Yeah, Greg from the Rapids of Sauk.
Greg, good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
What do you got, brother?
So this is back in probably from 84 until 91.
Okay.
Me and my cousins, about 10 of us, we all lived in different spots. So our grandma lived in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So we all had to get on the plane by ourselves, and I did it from 84 to probably 91.
Mm-hmm.
And we would all just get on the plane by ourselves, and we would meet up at the connection flight and then fly together to Grandma. And there would be some guy that would meet us there. And the only sucky part was on the way home every time, none of us got to ride together. We left immediately and had to be on the plane by ourselves for that time.
Wow. That's great.
So, yeah. Definitely not like that anymore.
No, big difference there. Thank you for the call, man. We appreciate it. On the text line, I flew from L.A., Los Angeles, California, Houston, Texas, via Chicago, first class on Continental Airlines on top of the DC-10. Yeah, man, God, man, we used to go sit at the airport, what is now Baltimore Washington International. When I was a kid, it was called Friendship Airport. Mm-hmm. Interesting name now that I think about it.
Right.
And my dad, for fun, because we didn't have the internet, we sometimes, on the weekend, we would just go to the airport and watch planes land and take off because you could just walk right in.
Oh, yeah.
And man, I would just watch, and I would see other, you'd see kids in the airport. I was never going to be one of them. I would just be like, and everybody that for that matter, where are they going? How awesome are their lives? Cool. Man, getting on those planes back in the day, golly, must have been nuts. And then you just think about how different it was. Every class of service would get a full meal service. Flying was such a different thing back then.
Yeah, you dress up.
Smoke on planes until well into the 80s. Mm-hmm. And you're right. You would go meet people at their gate. You know? You'd walk them meet them at their gate. The airport was just kind of a lax affair.
Last year I was flying out of MSP the same time my daughter was flying in to MSP. And so I had time. I went and waited at her gate for her to get off the plane, which was such an old school thing to be able to do. But she walked off her flight and is walking, like right off the flight, looks up and sees me. And she was so bewildered and confused as to how I was there, because she'd never been met at the gate before. And she literally was like, "Is everything okay?" Like she just thought there must be a real. I was like, "Yeah, I'm leaving. I'm just here already." And I got to see her. She was like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's fine. Trust me." But yeah, it just goes to show. We used to walk to listen to this. You want to hear about how different things were? Sure. In 1987, I got a message. I moved to Atlanta. I've been there like a month, and I got a message. My brother was flying from Mardi Gras back to wherever he was living at the time, and he had like an hour layover at the Atlanta airport, or an hour and a half. And I had literally nothing to do, so I thought, well, I'll take the train down there and I'll bump into him and say, hey, it'd be cool to see him now that I'm in a new town. And so I take the train out to the airport, and I get it all wrong. By the time I get to the gate that his arriving flight landed at, it was late. So then I have to figure out where he's flying. Then I have to change concourses. All this to say, I get to the gate where where his departure plane is on. He's already boarded the plane. And now I'm like, I've just wasted this whole trip. And here's the thing. I did not have 60 cents for the return train trip back to town. I had not one penny. And I'm like, I'm going to have to ask strangers for 60 cents at the airport.
You're the guy.
And I thought, or let me just try this. And I went right up to the gate attendant, the person at the gate, and I said, my brother's on that plane, and I have to give him a message. And she's like, I can't let you on a plane. I said, we have a family emergency. Please go get Dave Gorman and bring him back up here. And she said, okay. And so she goes on the plane and tells my brother, there's someone out, your brother's here. There's a family emergency. He had no idea that I was even going to come out and meet him. So he, of course, takes it seriously.
Yeah.
He comes running up the jetway, and I'm standing there. He goes, what? And I go, hey, man, I need 60 cents. I don't know. He looked at me. He goes, what? I go, I came out here to see you, and I got here late, and I missed the connection. I go, I don't have money for the train. And he was, it was
if he had time to beat your ass.
Oh, he would have. And he pulled out $1, and he goes, just here, get that. He was so mad. And I wasted like 4 hours, the whole thing for me. I was like, all I got was $1 in a a wasted afternoon.
He had a rough minute.
He did. He had one rough minute.
Getting off that plane to you thinking, my God, what happened? Steve
so
needs
funny.
60 cents.
Yeah, needed the 60. Who else we got on the phone, Tony?
One of St. Louis Park's finest. Here's John.
John, good morning.
Good morning.
What's up, brother?
I got a simple story from 1965.
Great.
I was born in 64, so I can still remember this. I was only one. Mom and Dad took us to on a trip to Chicago. So I was just a rambunctious little stink butt back then, and I grew up with ADD, so I was driving my mom nuts all the time. But on the vacation, she had a harness on me with the leash behind me.
Oh, yeah.
We're cruising around the museum, and this lady and her girlfriend come around the corner and said, "Oh, look, honey, she's got him on a leash like a dog." I dropped on all fours at that moment and started barking like a dog. My mom dropped the leash and turned the other way. That was
surprised you didn't end up in radio.
Around the corner. I bet you it took my mom 5-10 minutes to find me. But that was just something hilarious from way back then. You don't see that nowadays.
No.
Parents fucking their kids with a leash.
No, you certainly do not. Not without that child's consent anyway. Thanks for the call, man. We appreciate it. Who else we got, Tony? I've probably got time for one more.
Cool. The lovely Jen from Chanhassen.
Jen, good morning.
Morning.
What do you got for us, Jen?
Okay, so years ago, I'm 55 now. This is back in early 1990s. I'm looking at colleges, and my dad is helping me, and we flew like a puddle jumper to Tallahassee, and it was like one of these really small planes, and we get out there, and there's like all these businessmen on the plane, and it's like a 6-seater, and the pilot takes one look at me. I'm just a little 18-year-old, like 120 pounds, and looks at me and decides that I'm going to sit in the co-pilot seat because he needs to balance the weight on the plane, right? So he puts me in the co-pilot seat, and there's this huge, like, windshield, and I'm seeing, like, everything. I'm like, holy cow, this is pretty cool. And so I'm seeing everything, and then I see this huge jumbo jet through the windshield, And I'm like, oh my God, and he's just flying, and the jumbo jet is getting closer and closer.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, should I say something? I'm like, because it was like on my side.
Should I
and so
say
finally
something?
I just turned to him and I said, you see that, right? And he's like, oh yeah, no problem. We're going to miss him.
Oh, okay. Got it timed out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's a little stressful. Did you end up going to school down there?
I ended up going to University of Florida in Gainesville, so I picked Gainesville, yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Probably a better choice. I take Gainesville over Tallahassee any day. That's just me.
Yeah, rock on. The Gators are awesome.
All right, thanks for the call.
Rock on.
Glad that flight went the way it was supposed to. All right, everybody who phoned in, man, that was fantastic. What a good last hour. Looking back on how insane it used to be to just get around in this country. Let's have a quick look back. How about a history lesson? We are having fun. On this day in 2015, Harriet Thompson had fun. She ran the San Diego Marathon. She finished in 7 hours, 24 minutes. She was 92 years old.
What the?
That's a 17-minute mile pace for a marathon at 92. Harriet, well done, sister.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.